Tropospheric undulations every night on Weather Center PM.
In the next half hour, Weather Center PM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center PM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel. Tragedy strikes northern Georgia as a tornado destroys homes as well as families. We'll have the story for that region plus the entire nation coming up on this edition of Weather Center.
Glad you could join us on this edition of Weather Center. A deadly tornado left a path of destruction in Hall County in northeastern Georgia early this morning. That leads our look at the nation. I'm Warren Madden.
And I'm Kim Perez. The Northeast braces again for more weekend snow. We'll have the full details in your forecast as well as a live report from Syracuse, New York. That's coming up a bit later in the show, but we begin with the tornado in Georgia. These were the scenes this afternoon from Hall County in rural northeast Georgia. The tornado hit around 6:20 a.m. 12 people died in Hall County, 2 in White County, and more than 80 were injured in the region. The tornado damaged not only homes, but schools and farms as well. Now, Governor Zell Miller declared a state of emergency in several counties after touring the areas. Well, it's not unusual for tornadoes to hit in the early morning hours. We'll have a detailed explanation in just a moment, but first, let's check the current situation in the east. Well, in the southeast, we had quite a last couple of days here. Severe weather, hail, wind damage, tornadoes. We have had it here even into Florida. The good news is for you folks in Alabama and Georgia and Florida, the severe weather threat is over, but it is not over here into the Carolinas. Our cold front still off to the west, our warm front moving slowly to the north. It's in this sector right here along our warm front that we are seeing the severe weather tonight. Southeast winds into our front. In the upper levels, we have southwest winds. That's what we call shear. And that is something we look for when we forecast tornadoes. And that is happening tonight. So anywhere along I-95 from Raleigh-Durham eastward into Norfolk, that's right, even the Outer Banks could see some severe weather tonight. Dew points coming down a little bit earlier in the mid-60s, now into the 50s as we cool down this evening a little bit. But we still have that tornado watch out in effect for Raleigh-Durham, but it looks like most of the activity is now east of you as this line of storms progresses off towards the northeast at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Now, earlier south of Raleigh-Durham, we had some nasty weather roll through. And actually, this is Garner, which is south of Raleigh. And officials in the town of Garner say homes and trees were damaged late today. In addition, the church steeple was crushed, and more than 8,000 people are without power tonight. Now, a closer look at these storms, we can see, again, Raleigh in the clear at this point, but with this little line right here, this looks pretty nasty here, just east of Fayetteville, getting ready to come across Interstate 40, and then farther north into Wilson County with this cell right here, and Nash County. Severe thunderstorm warnings are out for you right now. And again, these storms have had history of dime to quarter size hail. We had dime-sized hail reported at Wheeler Dam. So again, not a night to be out tonight. Severe weather should continue through the evening as we follow this line moving off to the east. Even D.C. could see a few thunderstorms tonight, but we think the severe threat will be farther south than you. Around our low, well, we have some nasty weather in the Ohio Valley and into the Great Lakes. It's snow, sleet, freezing rain. It's rain through Pennsylvania, but that may be changing over to snow later on tonight. We'll start out as rain in the mountains, but it should change over to snow as our low moves off to the east. Now, flash flood watches are out, and we do have a lot of flash flood warnings, some problems out there tonight, especially if you are planning on traveling, let's say the Blue Ridge Parkway. Watch out for the ponding on the roadway. At Cincinnati, we had quite an active morning. Winds were gusting over 40 miles per hour. Stoplights and signs were blown around, limbs were blown off trees onto streetcars, and the rain-slicked roads made for a slow morning commute. Well, around our low, again, we do have some activity, and it's mostly snow up towards Detroit and back into South Bend and Lafayette. But Cleveland, it's rain. It's been mixing in with a little bit of snow, but that will change later on tonight, as in Buffalo reporting a little bit of snow, and Syracuse also changed over to snow. We'll be talking to Kristen here very shortly about that. Here's the forecast for the snow tonight, 3 to 6 inches, not out of the question, even for you in Detroit. Now for a look at the rest of the country, here's Warren.
Most people think tornadoes are fueled by the afternoon sun, but this certainly wasn't the case early this morning in Georgia. Sometimes in the southeast, the storms can peak in intensity in the wee hours of the morning. Here to explain is senior meteorologist Colin Marquis.
Thunderstorms are fueled by warmth and moisture in the lowest part of the atmosphere, so you would expect that thunderstorms and severe weather would be most active when it's hottest at ground level, that being the late part of the afternoon. However, in the southeast and the Gulf Coast, there's another maximum of severe weather in the early part of the morning, and the reason is during the cold season, in the winter time and the early spring, when we have low pressure systems traversing the Gulf Coast, basically what happens is a lot of the times you'll see a line of thunderstorms get going out ahead of the cold front, and they are fueled by what we call the low-level jet. That is a river of fast-moving air, a couple of thousand feet above the ground, oftentimes moving between 20 and 40 miles an hour. This has a lot of warmth and moisture associated with it coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, fueling the thunderstorms, and that low-level jet usually attains its maximum speed in the early part of the morning, therefore sustaining thunderstorms and oftentimes severe weather into the early part of the morning across the Gulf Coast.
Thanks very much, Colin. Turning the rest of the country now. Hey, it's spring! It officially began at 2:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Temperatures anything but spring-like, though, in the Central Plains. Let's check out how it looked. These are the differences from average, departures from average, and anywhere you see the blue or, say, the kind of pinkish colors, that's where it was cooler than we typically see at this time of the year.